If Donald Trump wins the presidential election in November, which at this point seems probably more likely than not, then what happened yesterday at a McDonald's in Bucks County, Pennsylvania, will encapsulate why he won. Assuming there's a single honest history book in 20 years from now, this will be the moment that the authors used to illustrate the trajectory of the race in its final days. Now, on paper, it was basically just a, classic photo op, the kind of thing that's been done thousands of times before. Donald Trump showed up at the McDonald's, mingled with the employees, learned how to cook fries, served some customers in the drive-thru, talked to reporters, and left. Doesn't sound very remarkable. Certainly doesn't sound like the kind of thing that Trump's opponents should treat like a crisis or anything approaching a crisis. So it's notable that the Kamala Harris campaign, along with the press, are currently having a full-on meltdown over Trump's visit to McDonald's yesterday. And if you want to know why Donald Trump is probably going to win in November, you have to understand exactly why this is happening. You have to understand why they're so threatened by the fact that Trump served French fries for 15 minutes. Now, to give you some idea of what I'm talking about, here's the reaction from MSNBC, where they foamed at the mouth while simultaneously accusing Donald Trump of being crazy. Watch.
If you're on his campaign, and I know you are certainly not, I'm not making any implication of that, but what is the logic behind this, going to a McDonald's? I mean, we know the guy likes Big Macs and filet of fish, and he's used the word love to describe the way he feels about the food there before. But what's this about?
There's no logic to it. It's a stunt. He has not put forth an economic agenda. He, as you know, appears to be not well. And he's engaged in some really bizarre types of activities during this campaign. So this is just another one of those stunts that he will continue on through the campaign. And I think that we need to really focus on making sure that he is not elected, of course, because he is a threat to our democracy, but also the Harris-Walsh agenda is about the economy, reducing the cost of living, reducing the cost of prescription drugs, reducing the cost of housing, and making life better for everyone. And that's what we have to focus on and make sure we get every voter to the polls and make sure that the voters vote for the future, not taking the country backwards, as you see what Donald Trump continues to try to do. So I'm urging and encouraging everyone to get to the polls and vote for Kamala Harris and Tim Walsh to be their next president and vice president.
Now, MSNBC claims that they have no idea why Donald Trump went to McDonald's. Maybe he likes Big Macs, they suggest. But probably he's just losing his mind. Now, of course, they know exactly why Donald Trump was there. On the stump, Kamala Harris has repeatedly claimed that she worked at McDonald's in the 1980s. But the company says that it has no record of her employment, and Kamala's been unwilling to provide any evidence that she was employed by McDonald's. Additionally, the Washington Free Beacon found that neither of Harris's memoirs makes any mention of a job at McDonald's. The first time she publicly mentioned the job was decades after the fact at a political rally in 2019. And then there's this, quote, the Free Beacon also obtained a copy of Harris's October 1987 job application for a law clerk position in the Alameda County District Attorney's Office. On that form, Harris, who was in law school at the time, listed several jobs, including a month-long clerical job at a stock brokerage, in a section that asked her to list every position she held in the last 10 years. McDonald's is absent. Now, on top of that, when she speaks about the job, Kamala acts a bit like she does when she talks about the Glock that she allegedly owns. Her speech is halting. Her descriptions are vague. She says that she handled the fries, and Kamala's handlers have changed their mind on why she had the job, too. At one point, they said that it was to pay for college. At another point, they said that she worked at McDonald's to get some extra spending money. It all seems fake because it probably is fake. Now, on one level, it's obviously very alarming that the Democrats have nominated a candidate who's so phony that she would lie about something like this. I mean, this is the first case of stolen McValor that we've ever seen in politics. It's gratuitous because it's totally unnecessary. And even worse, she didn't even lie convincingly about it. At the same time, there's no denying that this is maybe the easiest target for mockery that you can possibly imagine. I mean, if SNL were still funny, they'd be doing nonstop skits about this. But SNL isn't really funny anymore, at least not regularly so that job has fallen to Donald Trump. And so he showed up to the McDonald's kitchen in Bucks County yesterday, worked for about 15 minutes, and declared that he's now worked at McDonald's longer than Kamala Harris worked there. This is an image here that's going to find its way into a lot of retrospectives on the 2024 presidential race. Watch.
Make it fact.
Mr. President, you actually have worked at McDonald's now versus...
Now I have worked at McDonald's. I've now worked for 15 minutes more than Kamala.
Are you going to put this on your
I
resume?
never worked here.
Why would she lie about something like that?
Will
be put on your resume.
Worked at McDonald's.
Why would she lie about that?
Why? Because she's lying, Kamala. That's why.
So there's a lot to discuss in that short clip, but one thing to notice is that Trump isn't even really being hostile here. He's not coming across as unhinged and unpleasant like the MSNBC panel. In fact, at one point, Trump told reporters in the drive-thru lane that he wished Kamala Harris a happy birthday, which was nice of him. He offered to send her some French fries and even flowers to mark the occasion. So this is some lighthearted mockery that happens to be extremely damaging for Kamala Harris from a political perspective. But a big part of the reason why it's so damaging is that nobody in the corporate press or the Kamala Harris campaign is capable of enduring mockery at their own expense. Instead, by going into hysterics over it, they're revealing that the Trump campaign is right. They're highlighting the exact vulnerability that the Trump campaign wanted to highlight, which is that everything about Kamala Harris's image is artificial and inflexible. There's nothing genuine about her or her fake life story. And yesterday, in maybe the most effective way imaginable, Trump made that fact impossible to ignore. And that's why, one by one, every single mainstream outlet has published an article attacking Trump for the crime of cooking a batch of French fries. They went into a fully defensive posture, and they all use pretty much the same language. They all say that Trump is out of line for daring to suggest that maybe Kamala Harris didn't actually work at McDonald's. CNN, for example, reports, quote, Trump has grown fixated on Harris's employment at McDonald's. In interviews and on the campaign trail, he regularly accuses Harris, without evidence, of making up the factoid. The AP, meanwhile, reports, quote, the visit came as Trump has tried to counter Democratic nominee Kamala Harris's accounts on the campaign of working at the fast food chain while in college, an experience that Trump has claimed without offering evidence never happened. And here's the LA Times quote, Trump visits McDonald's after he claimed with no evidence that Harris didn't work there during college. And here's one more. This is NBC News, quote, without evidence, Trump has accused Harris of lying about the experience as a way to improve her working class credibility. Well, you're probably getting the picture at this point. The entirety of the corporate press, without exception, wants you to know that there's no evidence that Kamala Harris didn't work at McDonald's. So, in other words, Donald Trump has not proved a negative. He has to prove that she did not work there in the 80s. He has not provided, I guess, a detailed point-by-point explanation of exactly what Kamala Harris was doing at every moment during the 1980s, and therefore he has no right to question her narrative, which is completely backwards, obviously. Kamala is the person who claimed that she worked at McDonald's. She made that claim without providing any evidence. And evidence that'd be easy to provide, by the way. If you worked somewhere, even at any point in your life, it wouldn't be that hard to provide some kind of documentation that you did. I mean, there'd be a record of it. And as I outlined earlier, there is no evidence of that, but there is actually affirmative evidence that she is lying. It's circumstantial evidence, and it's not necessarily conclusive, but it's still evidence. Right now, there's more evidence that she didn't work there than there is evidence that she did work there. But these media outlets don't say, Kamala Harris says without evidence that she worked at McDonald's. Instead, they take her claim as gospel and they get all huffy when Trump calls her out on it. And they do it in an extremely coordinated fashion that makes it clear all of these outlets are reading from the same script. And that script, as we all know, comes from Kamala's campaign. And as you'd expect, the campaign itself is also melting down over Trump's visit to McDonald's. Kamala Harris's rapid response director, James Singer, wrote, quote, Trump doesn't care about workers, he cares about himself. Here's the clip he embedded in the tweet to support his point. Watch.
Minimum wage should be raised.
Well, I think these people work hard. They're great. And I just saw something, a process that's beautiful. It's a beautiful thing to see. These are great franchises and produce a lot of jobs, and it's great. And great people working here, too.
But minimum wage is recently increased.
So that's the clip that's supposed to convince us that Trump is a bad guy because he wouldn't immediately say, yes, raise the minimum wage. Which, first of all, the fact that Trump, at 78 years old, was able to learn the ins and outs of cooking fries at McDonald's in about 15 minutes isn't exactly a strong argument for raising the minimum wage. I mean, if anything, it's an argument for lowering it, but I don't see how it's an argument for raising it. Now, of course, there are plenty of other problems with that whole line of argument. When the state of California raised its minimum wage, thousands of fast food workers lost their jobs, and the price of fast food became more expensive across the board, which, you know, that was always inevitable. Of course, that's going to be the result. And that happened within just the last year. This is the pro-worker policy, according to the rapid response director of the Kamala Harris campaign. But that's not even the worst part of this. The worst part of this is that Kamala Harris's campaign is making snippy, dumb political arguments in response to a campaign event that was just objectively hilarious and effective. I mean, they did the same thing after the Al Smith dinner, and it looks terrible every time they do it. Everyone can see in these clips from McDonald's that the workers loved that Trump was there. He joked around with everyone from the owner of the franchise to the rank and file employees, and they were all enjoying the experience. It's just not possible to spin this kind of footage to create the narrative that they want to create. You end up looking desperate and certainly humorless. Watch.
He owns a lot of McDonald's, that guy. That's great. Thank you. Okay.
Yes, you got it. Can I help?
Oh, I think that's good. You want to do that? Yeah.
Yep.
Mr. Trump, what's your favorite thing to order at McDonald's?
I like it all. I love McDonald's. I'm going to give a really big one so that, look at that, they're just pouring out of there. How good is that, Margot? Here, Margot, have them. She's been with me a long time. You're an expert at this, huh?
Yes.
How long have you done this? How long have you been here?
I've been working at McDonald's 10 plus.
10 plus? Wow. All different jobs?
Yes.
She doing a good job? Does an excellent job. She better, right? Yeah, she's beautiful. Let's go.
So Trump praises the fry cook for his lessons. He asks the woman how long she's worked there. She says 10 years, and he congratulates her. He jokes around with the woman about the apron and his favorite part of McDonald's, and the employees think that it's great. And the response from Kamala Harris's campaign is that Trump was demonstrating that he doesn't care about fast food workers. They're swooping in to remind these McDonald's workers that they're wrong and that Trump actually hates them. Now, it's not surprising that on social media, the reaction to this post from Kamala's rapid response guy, James Singer, was universally negative because, like, these people exist on a different planet. The reason the trip was successful is that, again and again, Trump expressed interest in everyday people, and those people returned the favor. And this isn't something you can coach. It either comes naturally or it doesn't. You know, instead of reading from a rehearsed script, which is all Kamala Harris can do, Trump engaged with these employees and customers like human beings. At one point, when a customer in the drive-thru thanked Trump for talking to ordinary people, Trump rejected the idea that the guy was ordinary. Watch this exchange.
I could do this all day. I wouldn't mind this job. I like this job. I think I might come back and do it again.
Thank you.
Look at that. Look at that. How are you?
Thank you, Mr. President.
Nice to see you.
You made it possible for ordinary people like us to meet you.
You're not ordinary.
I mean, thank you so much
You
for
are not
everything you're
ordinary.
doing.
I can see.
We pray for you, and you are the type of person we want to be the president.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
So nice. Thank you very much. Yeah, I took a bullet. That's right.
Thank you, Mr. President.
When you think about it, I guess that's right.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Now, as these videos were shared all over social media, Kamala Harris's campaign continued to melt down. It was pretty excruciating to watch. The Kamala's Wins X account, which is run by someone who works in the Biden administration, posted, quote, "Breaking, the McDonald's location Trump worked at was cited earlier this year for health code violations. Disgusting." So they're attacking the McDonald's now. Apparently that's the winning strategy. Team Kamala is going to show how much they care about restaurant workers by calling them disgusting. Meanwhile, Ron Filipkowski, who works for something called Midas Touch, discovered that the McDonald's wasn't in fact open to the public at the time of Trump's visit. So he sleuthed that one out. He wrote, quote, "So the place wasn't even open. It was all staged and fake. He didn't work for real at a McDonald's. It was a staged fraud, just like every other event." Well, I have to admit, I was shocked by that revelation. I was, because I figured that Donald Trump showed up to McDonald's unannounced, applied for a job, interviewed with the shift manager, was hired, took like a human resources class, studied the employee handbook, filled out all the necessary paperwork, went through training, worked an entire shift, and would be back to work the morning rush the next day. That's what I thought. But it turns out that Trump isn't actually an employee of McDonald's. This is a major scoop by Ron Filipkowski. For their part, the New York Post published an article entitled, "Exclusive. I'm an ex-McDonald's chef. Trump has no idea how difficult it is to be a French fry cook." The article contains quotes like this one, quote, "Being a McDonald's employee is more difficult than a lot of people imagine. Maintaining a cool temperament is key. As a fry cook, anything can go wrong, which is tough because almost every McDonald's order includes fries." And it goes on and on with all the hardships of working at McDonald's. Now, I know this comes as a shock to our friends on the left, but, it is possible to show that you respect and value somebody without being insanely patronizing. I have nothing against McDonald's employees, but no, it is not difficult to put a batch of frozen French fries into a vat of grease. That's not it's not difficult to work fast food. As a general rule, if a 16-year-old can do a job and do it well, that means by definition, it's not difficult. Unless that 16-year-old is a world champion gymnast or something. But when it comes to normal jobs that pay you an hourly wage, the ones that predominantly hire high school kids are not difficult. It's okay to acknowledge that. You don't have to infantilize these people. But all of this nonsense and this impotent rage from the left tells us two things. First of all, as I mentioned, they know that Kamala Harris is a fraud and they resent anyone who exposes that. But also, this stunt demonstrates once again that Donald Trump is the master at hijacking the news cycle. He's also extremely good at retail politics, in part because he's been in public life for so long in so many different contexts. And here he's doing both of those things at once. This is a unique talent, especially in this presidential race. The reason that Kamala Harris couldn't pull off this McDonald's stunt is the same reason that she had to skip the Al Smith dinner. She has none of Trump's redeeming qualities. Trump, by contrast, knows how to be a real person. He knows how to have fun. If Kamala tried the same stunt, it would come off painfully fake and awkward. And the key here is that Trump, when he's doing something like this, he's not pretending to be a working class guy with lots of experience doing jobs like this. He knows that he's a fish out of water, and that's the fun of it. He's having fun with that fact. It is funny to see Donald Trump working the fries at McDonald's. It's a funny thing to see, and he is aware of the fact that it's funny. It's why he's doing it. Voters pick up on the authenticity, and they respect it. That's why thousands of people were gathered outside the McDonald's to greet him. It's why every interaction Trump had inside the McDonald's was friendly and entertaining and upbeat. It's why the scene looked like this the whole time.
Right here. Lower slowly into the wood, hold it burn. Then we're just going to hit our fry timer right here.
Right there. Yep. Well, that's a good looking group. Hello, everybody. This is not a normal situation, is it? I'll tell you, what a good looking family.
Oh, thank you.
How did you produce those good looking kids? Oh, they look like they look like they're what? How are you? Nice to see you.
All right.
Appreciate all
They get this order right here.
Thank you.
Grateful to have you in Bucks County.
And there'll be no charge. Trump is paying for it. Is that okay?
Trump 2024.
Oh, you go to some extra stuff.
Oh, okay, great.
This is all on Trump.
Oh, hold on.
I'm allowed to do that, right?
Yeah. Let's check and make sure it's everything you said it would be.
It better be. It's going to be the best yet. I made it myself.
You're the best. Make America great.
That's compliments of Trump, okay?
Yes, thank you. Mr. President, please don't let the United States become Brazil, my native Brazil.
We'll keep it good.
Please.
We're going to make it better than ever, okay?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. It's a pleasure, Mr.
Compliments
President.
of Trump.
So today, the Kamala Harris campaign is still asking how this happened. They're asking how a photo op like this could immediately garner tens of millions of views on every social media platform. They're asking why more than 7,000 people gathered outside the McDonald's to see this. They're asking why everybody, saying that the images from this, everyone's saying the images from this McDonald's look like a Norman Rockwell painting and how they'll end up in the history books. Well, the reason the Kamala campaign can't answer those questions is the same reason they'll likely lose the election. This race is between perhaps the most authentic presidential candidate in modern American history and the most inauthentic. And if the desperate, furious reaction from Kamala Harris's campaign and the corporate press tells us anything, it's that they're now painfully aware which candidate is which. Hey, YouTube, thanks for listening to the show. If you'd like access to my full show with no ads, you should go to dailywire.com and use promo code Walsh to get 2 months free on all annual plans. See you there.